Happy Valentine's Day! So, I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'm going to tell you two big, huge things. One, happy Valentine's Day. And for those of you brokenhearted and alone and depressed, I love you so much. There was this one time that I was completely in love. Like, in love. I was stupid in love. You know, when you're like, I'll do anything for you, I will drive 21 hours. Yeah, like when you're just dumb in love. And it turns out that every single thing was a lie. Like literally, like no, he had a live-in girlfriend. He had like 7 other women. He was doing what he was doing with me behind that girl's back. Everything was a lie. That was a sociopath narcissist. And you would think all the healing work I've done, all the education, I'm an expert in trauma and recovery now. Wow. Have you ever been like, you know this stuff? Why did you get completely bamboozled? And how? How did that happen? Yeah, so that happened to me. It threw me for a loop, like truly, it like knocked me down for a minute because part of it was honestly like, how did I fall for that? And literally, I did. I 100% did. I fell for that. And it took a while. It took a while. There was also times in my life now that I know so much about trauma and recovery and the signs, and I'm on the board of domesticshelters.org and Teresa's fund, and I will put a link to there. Like, we have all this information, and still sometimes you know the signs and you walk right into it. And I have been in relationships that, wow, I kind of coined them in my own brain as soft domestic violence because I never got hit, thank God. But yelled at, like violently yelled at by more than one person. I'm like, that's a pattern. And it's intense when you realize that, like, oh my God, I was living in domestic violence and didn't see it. Ooh. And I'm a speaker about that. What? And yeah, that's intense. And that's what we don't talk about so much. And that's what I'm getting to. 2 things. One is a great love story that happened at my recording studio. So I have a recording studio in Nashville. I make movies and music. That's that's the artist in me that I do. And I work with creative survivors because you could be a performer, you could be a speaker, you could run the nonprofit. You're just all around general rock star is you. And this beautiful story happened. I'll give you the cliff notes because it's Valentine's Day, but I wrote a 14-day story about these two that you can sign up and I'll take you through. You get an email every day for 14 days. It's pretty lovely. Like, it's lovely. But the cliff notes are, this baker in Belgium was in love with this woman. And he saw an ad that we had that during the lockdown, we would do, you don't have to be a professional musician to come in. We could do the layman's version. Like if you have a poem or something, we can turn it into a song. There's other companies that do that. There's tons of them actually. But side note, the catch is they own your song, just FYI. And we don't. We're like, you know what? Let's just do it differently. Like you make your song and it's yours. If you become famous and makes millions of dollars, great. If you want us to publish it for you, we can have a little teeny taste. But that's the point is you can just literally, you have the freedom to make your song. So he saw an ad. He signed up. He wrote this beautiful poem that was so long that we were like, well, you have to kind of get it into a song. And so we got it into a song for him. He presented it to her, the woman that he loved, and she was like, no. And meanwhile, his song went to #1 on the radio charts in his country. What? That's so crazy. Cut to the reason the love of his life said no and was like, was she had been through a narcissist, sociopath, and domestic violence. And I'm like, oh, I know that story. And she just couldn't. She was like, I can't. I cannot be loved. I don't trust it. I understand. I am wary of everyone. Are you lying about literally everything? Because I don't believe anything. I don't trust you. I have kids I have to protect. No, no, no. And she was like, get somebody else that deserves to be loved. Cut to, she was so, like, she had a little crush on him too. And he was devastated when he wrote her this song, and she was like, no. Meanwhile, it did actually catapult her into going into her own healing work and therapy, and like her own, really truly letting go of the meanings that she had put in her head about this abuser too, actually. You know, because it's not about the abuser anymore. It's about what we do to ourselves because of what we went through, and like old belief systems and belief patterns that we get into, and then we start abusing ourselves like the abuser did. What? And like keeping yourself from your purpose and your prize. Well, guess what? Taking a risk on yourself, taking a risk on your healing, taking a risk, even the baker taking a risk on making a song, is more important and more profound than staying in the pain because of the prize. So the prize is more worth it, is more worth the pain, but you got to take the risk. You got to take the hell. So he got a big no. Sometimes you fall flat on your face. Sometimes you fall in love with a narcissist sociopath and you just walk right into that. And, you know, you have to take a minute. What happened? What happened with him is he wrote 2 other songs. He got the taste of it. Like he had his 15 minutes of fame. His song was #1. And she was like, no. He wrote 2 other songs. One of them was from her perspective, as if like it was her song that she's singing, and it's called Please Let Me Love Again. That was the one that did it, that for her, that really was like, wow, you actually are listening. And they'd been friends for God, almost like a year. It was crazy. But he didn't want to be in the friends club anymore. She didn't want him in the friends club either, but she was terrified, right? So him making these songs for her, him taking a risk, led to her working on her healing and literally saying no, which was a smart move actually, and really totally working on herself and letting go of her own stuff and like dealing with like really going in. She did that, going into the core and like really doing the healing work that I know really well. Well, cut to the super happy ending on Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh! Like, because of songs that he made, they now are a couple. Like, it's just so cute and awesome, and it just makes me like, it makes me grin, like where your face hurts. It's like, I love it so much. And I love it so much because I understand her and I understand him. I understand the survivors who, the loved ones of survivors, because how many husbands and wives have I met and talked to over the years that are partners or boyfriends or, you know, partners with a survivor? That is a place to be in where you don't have necessarily your own abuse story, but you witness the effects of it. That is intense. That's its own thing. And so I'm like, yay, thank you for taking a risk. And so this is my second thing. All the time I've been working in the recording studio, right? And working with survivors over the years. Like it's been like 2 decades. What? I'm looking all right. I'm a rock star. And speaking of, I finally saw that all of this time working in the healing and the entertainment is the same. And I've been trying to hide and like kind of and separate them because I had my ass handed to me. Because when I was in Hollywood and I had the house on the hill and I bought my car cash and I was like, had the whole team, right? Had the PR, manager, agent, big fancy agent where you know that the whole thing. When I started talking about child sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, when I started like literally speaking it out loud after I made my documentary, I lost that whole thing. I lost every single one of them. And I even had the meeting of like, well, you're talking about child sexual abuse and rape, and it's like not sexy. I'm like, what? And so like, you should do these other things. And I had that moment of like, the pain and the prize, your purpose and your pain. And I'm like, the pain and the fear and the risk of losing that whole team, that wasn't really a team, is scary. It's like taking a risk, right? But my purpose and your purpose, I'm just telling you this for a reason, like just look at that. Your purpose is more important than the pain and the fear. Because what happened is I was like, yo, I'm gonna go with my backpack and go on the road because I just can't be a part of that anymore. Like I am gonna talk about that because even the people that were telling me that like don't talk about it behind closed doors in the meeting, I can't even tell you how many people in elevators, bathrooms, obviously behind closed doors, who disclosed their story. And you're like, why did you just lock me out of my team when you have a story too? Oh, well, we don't talk about that. It's too painful. And so this has been a long time coming. Now, like the art and the creativity have merged with the surviving. And finally, I have a way for us to have really a pack, because all of the ones that I know, myself included, have been living in this kind of lone wolf mentality, even though you have a team, even though you have tons of people that love you, that you maybe don't even see, that you have completely tons of resources at your disposal. Like you have all that you need, but you can't see that sometimes because you're the lone wolf and you're going at it alone, and you're the girl or the boy, like, or the boy or the girl, or like, or, you're the survivor in your pain, or you're the loved one, and you're like, what do I do with all this? How do I move forward? I don't have this. Like, what are the biggest fears? Don't have a team. I lost my team. They're gone. But it switched into a much, much bigger team. So I'm just putting in your brain that your purpose is more important than the pain. And I see reformers. I'm a reformer, and I see it. I see it time and time again. And I see even in that love story, it's this beautiful reformers. It's like holding the torch of revival. It's like, let's like take a risk, and you're gonna like blindly, oh my God, I'm gonna take a risk, and you win the prize. So if you take a risk and look at your pain is not as important as your purpose. Well, I now have a way for us to have a pack. So I'm only going to let the reformers in. This is not for people in super crisis. This is not for people that like don't really know what they want to do. Like, I mean, we'll have some talks for you, but really this is for my men and my women who are performers, artists. I know you. I literally have like your name. Like I have you. I know you. This is you. This is your community. This is our community that we take our pain and our healing and all the work that we do, and we raise it to the next level. Because I'm going to tell you something sad, right? Yesterday was the Super Bowl. Do you know how much human trafficking happens at the Super Bowl? And during football, and during like even college games, especially college games. Yay, you're celebrating football. I'm so happy for you. Meanwhile, in the parking garages, in the parking lots, there is so much human trafficking happening right in your face. The perpetrators are organized. The perpetrators help each other. The perpetrators do not have a blue versus red argument going on. Because when you start following the paths of perpetrators, there's no boundaries. There's no boundaries of money. There's no boundaries of the red versus blue, right? Because they're in it to victimize and make money and help each other break rules, help each other victimize more people. So I'm like, you know what? This has been a long time coming. And I am only one little spoke in the big, big wheel. Speaking of, we have like a rock star wheel that I can show you that you can implement in your life. And now it's time to do exactly what they're doing. Organized. Forget the arguments. Like this is what we all have in common, are being survivors, right? I don't care. Like, it's not a matter of who you like voted for or who you think about on that level, or, you know, shots, not shots. Like, it's not, we're not having that conversation. Because the core is literally, we are survivors, and we're organizing, and we're rising to the next level, and we're rising at the same level like water. Like, you're rising collectively, and you're rising like water. And whether it is your nonprofit, whether you're running the company, whether you own the stage as a performer and speaker, or own the stage as a do-gooder and you're doing events, that's the reformers. And I can go into detail more about the reformers, but if it resonates with you, I literally just text me. Like, text me, call me. I'll let you in the back end now. But I'm only going to do it for about 12 days because I'm only going to let in a certain amount of people, because we're basically, think of it like we are organizing a big, huge, like an event, right? That's going to be lifelong, it's going to exist. So, you know, these are my people that are like, you know, I need to move that box over there and that box over there, and we need to set these lights and, you know, prepare for the event. So I want to just put that in your brain. And reformers are the wild ones. They're the ones that are rough around the edges. They're the ones that have been through hell, and they know pain and suffering, and they help others get out of the pain and suffering. The reformers are the performers with the story. They are the ones that are therapists, healers, running nonprofits. That you are a freaking badass rock star. And now we have a Rockstar Academy that we can help each other daily. Because let me tell you something, I get those calls from the CEO running the company from the parking garage having a panic attack. I'm like, what can I do to help you? And literally she was like, I need a daily update. I need just something on my phone daily. I was like, oh, perfect. We have that. Awesome. So it's like, it's only the limit of your imagination, and the limit of your purpose is more important than your pain. So I tell you that love story because that sets the stage of, like, they both won the prize. They both won the prize, but they both took a huge risk and let their pain become less important than their purpose and the prize, right? So, and now they're a couple, and I have in the series of the emails you can sign up for at the end, like, if you guess what happens next, you can make your song in my studio too. Just a little side note. So now I'm so excited. I literally am like, I'm so excited that the worlds have merged, and they do. It's like, we are creative survivors and we're reformers. That's just what it is. Stop trying to run from it. Stop trying to, like, figure it out. It is what it is. Like, we are creatives, and we're fucking rock stars. Like, that's, I know you, I see you, and, you know, and I have lots of examples. And I'll be going live a couple times. Oh my God. Facing my own fear. I'm terrified of going live, by the way. It scares the shit out of me. I take a little poop in my pants. I do. And so I'm like, hey, my purpose and the things I have to share are more important than me pooping in my pants going live. So hold my hand as I hold your hand. And there's a long ass Valentine's Day video. But I wanted to give you some love, Valentine's Day, and the pain and the purpose. Pain and purpose. Which one are you at? Yeah, because you can win the prize. And us knowing the truth, like, it's like being in the middle of a seesaw. We're balancing on a seesaw, right? Like, there's pain, there's purpose. There's like, yay, football's happening. Yay, everything's great. Oh, human trafficking. Yay, oh my God, perpetrators are organized. Ugh. Hey, guess what? So are we. Yeah. So I just want you to think about that. What's the purpose, and what have you been stopping? What have you been doing that's, like, been stopping you? Because I have my whole thing. I will talk about it privately. And by the way, in this private Rockstar Academy we have. I am going to share some big revealing things that are so funny. I have one of that's my most embarrassing moment that other people think is my most embarrassing moment. I personally think it's really funny, but it was on video. Yeah. So I'm going to share stuff like that. Not like to the public, but to the rock stars who understand. They're like, I love you. So here we go, people. It's 2022, full circle. That's what I'm focusing on. Full circle. We got ourselves some stuff happening. So I love you. That's my long ass happy Valentine's Day video. What's your purpose?